What's up? Welcome back, guys, to the CyberRoadster build. So, came back from the Tesla takeover. This needs to be done in time for SEMA this year, not next year. I'm working on this trim piece right now, but the body is shaped differently up until about here. So it's, you know, curved and then it kind of straightens out just a little bit. So this will go on here. And right here, this part's too rounded, this trim piece. This is aluminum. What I'm gonna do is basically make cuts in this, straighten it out, and you know, make it fit, make it go along this body. So that will outline, you know, this pillar right here. And this needs to go in because of the window, obviously. And then this piece that I'm gonna put in here, this trim piece, this has the autopilot camera, which I'm gonna put back and, you know, kind of finish this off. So let's get to it. Let's see what happens. This is a really thin aluminum. Not sure how this is gonna react, but I gotta try it. Take a look at this. I moved it probably not even a quarter inch. When I was bending it upwards, it was oddly coming out. So I had to cut it in the back. That's like an original Tesla window trim right there. I'm pretty new to aluminum welding. I'm pretty familiar with the original metal welding. Like for example, if I'm gonna weld it right now to this specific radius, when the metal hardens or cools down, it can kind of bend it back to a different shape. So let's see what happens. I'm gonna start just tacking it in, and I wanna see how much it'll move. Don't judge my welds. All right, so check this out. Welded it on. I don't think it moved at all, actually. Tacked it in just as little as possible. These welds are actually really strong. This is my second day welding aluminum. It's a little different, but it's actually not hard. Basically, you connect 100% argon gas, and I'm using this thing right here. It's already so dirty. Now I need to weld this part right here, this backside. I'm pretty sure it's gonna react the same. I'm gonna get that welded on. Okay, so I welded on the face and then the backside. Let's compare this to the original trim. I got a Model 3 standing over here. Let's take a look. Take a look at that. So it's, I don't know if you can see that because the trim in the back is black, but I'm sitting it pretty much where it's supposed to be. You see the difference? It's not a lot, but it had to be done. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to tack it just a little bit more. Aluminum is actually pretty, it keeps its form pretty good with this, even though it's a lot hotter when it welds. Yeah, I'm gonna tack it up just a little bit more, and the rest of it, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use fiberglass kitty hair, just clean it up, and that's what I'm gonna smooth it out with. That was actually pretty easy. I'm surprised. That looks actually pretty cool. I like the way it highlights this body line. Obviously, you know, I gotta clean up the body filler a little bit, but it's pretty good, and it doesn't, I need to just kind of shave this one down with the flap disc. Other than that, that was actually pretty easy. This is as much weld as I'm gonna do. I just don't wanna risk kind of warping this thing because it's good the way it is. I think it's plenty of weld. There's some couple little holes. To finish that off, I'm gonna use the kitty hair, the Evercoat kitty hair. That stuff is pretty good. That's basically like using, it's mixed in with a lot of fiberglass, and it's perfect for that. I'm just gonna really scuff it up some more, put on the kitty hair, knock that down, and I think it will be done with this part. The one for the other side, I just gotta clean that one up a little bit more. After I'm done with this thing, I need to pretty much already start focusing on what I'm gonna do right here. This part's obviously very important. This is where the camera goes as well. And then I'm gonna do fancy fins over here. Let's see how that turns out. Let's continue. All right, so I knocked down all the welds. Right now what I want to do is use the Evercoat kitty here. It's going to be just a little bit. It hardens pretty quick. Sand it down, and then I can pretty much just primer this trim piece and get it ready for paint. All right, so check this out. I got this piece squared away, this trim squared away. I do gotta kind of clean it up a little bit and you know, sand it, paint it. That's easy. Now I'm moving on to the quarter panel. Like for example, this part right here. You see how the wheel well, this part kind of comes out, flares out, this part flares out. I wanna be completely honest with you. I have never done this part. I know how to do it. I talked to my brother, and he's like, check out some YouTube videos. So I'm gonna straight up show you guys, I've never done this, but I got a good idea on how to do it. I made this thing right here. It's like a $2 compass. So what I did was I went off of this Model 3 right here. I figured out where this line is. Then, because I cheaped out on this compass, you can't tighten this. There's no way to kind of secure it. So I took a hot glue gun, I glued it. Now it's in place. So what I gotta do is I gotta clean up this edge right here. It is a metal edge. I'm gonna lift up the car because it's really tight under here. Lift it up, kind of clean it up, sand it down, and then I can use this to find, you know, my exact line. See, this is like, for example, this, I'm gonna just show you guys. That's like almost a 1/4 inch. It needs to open up a 1/4 inch more. And this part right here, way, way too big right here. Let's pick up the car, sand it down. So why I put this on is because I want to go a little heavy right here. And you know, I can just always take off the extra. Made a really, really neat straight line right there. Now I can use this. So let's see how far off I am. This part at the end is going to be slightly different. Kind of go like this over here. So, all right. So look at this. Look how far off I am here. Pretty much from this point on, I have to take this off, basically. Kind of smooth it out. Let's see where I get with that. All right, so check this out. I took a lot off. I was surprised how much I put on. For example, if you're doing a car like this, I don't know how many people do this on a daily basis, you know, build a car literally from Bondo. This is the stuff that I've been using to form, you know, shape. The passenger side is almost pretty much done. And I've been using the Evercoat Rage Extreme. This stuff is freaking amazing. I'm telling you, I'm gonna put it on. And there's like a time window. You got like 5 to 15 minutes to where you sand it, and it sands like literally almost like foam. You sand it down, you get that form right away in one shot. Imagine if you use some cheap stuff. Imagine how much time this whole project would add. It would probably add like double the time. And to top it off, I use the Evercoat Plastic Honey. This stuff right here, what it does is it thins the body filler, becomes almost like glazing putty. So you can't go really thick, you know, you don't want to go really, I mean, can't really say that on this car, right? The main thing with the Plastic Honey, what it does is, some people told me they're like, oh, you don't need it, saying it because they're cheap asses, right? This stuff right here, it makes the body filler more like glazing putty. For example, I put it in the this off-brand fiberglass body filler, and it really thins it out beautifully. It spreads awesome. Pretty much the whole time I've been using a 60 grit on this and the orbital sander. The Evercoat stuff just hits a sweet spot for me. And as you can tell, I've been using a lot of stuff, a lot of the green stuff right here lately. It's my workstation. So let's mix up some of this extreme, start forming that line right there. Let's let this set, come back in about 5 to 10 minutes and see how we did. Okay, so it's been like 5 minutes. It's hard pretty quick, and this is the spot, this is the time you want to catch it. It sands so easy. Oh, just that feeling, it's just, All right, check this out. It's kind of hot in here. It's like 104 in the shop right now. I'm at the point where I'm gonna start using glazing putty. Finally, this is like the first time I'm using glazing putty. This is some new stuff, Evercoat Metal Glaze Optex. So when you put it on, it's pink and it turns green. So I never use this. Let's see what happens. Let's see it change color. All right, check this out. So that last clip you just seen was about 2 weeks ago. So this part of the arch, this quarter panel, this is pretty much good to go. The next step on this whole part of the body is very light coat of glazing putty, primer it, and then it's gonna be super high build Evercoat. This fender is not the same fender that was on this car from beginning of time, right? What happened was I was transporting the fenders upside down, and this part of the fender about to here was sticking up. I have this tonneau cover. That last part, about 75 miles an hour, I'm driving. Picture that thing catching wind and slamming down on the fenders. That's what happened. I messed up the fenders to the point of I couldn't fix them. I had to start from scratch. That set me back like 2 weeks, probably, because I tried to fix them and then went back and forth anyway. I had this part of the body right here that was extended with this flare, right? As you can see, it's gone. I took it off. Why? Because when I was redoing the fenders, I was like, you know what, I should have made them better. Earlier on when I was making the fenders, I kind of looked at it. I was like, I could have made them better if I extended this arch more pronounced and make it go all the way to the fender where it meets the door. That's what I did. I was like, I'm gonna take that off. This is gonna be the original body. Next step over here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna connect this part with the side skirt. I ordered some cheap 2-piece side skirts. Obviously the body's different here and especially back there. I'm gonna put them on. I'm gonna use what I can from those cheap ones, and I'm gonna basically build on top of that. The way I'm gonna connect this and the way it's gonna flow back there, it's gonna be different, obviously different from those cheapo side skirts. As you can see, look how rough this thing looks like. What I did was I took that big mixing board, just put a big blob on there, mixed up a bunch of hardener, and I slapped it on here. And obviously a lot of this is gonna come off, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shape it mainly with this thing right here. The next step is gonna be the Evercoat body filler. That stuff is super easy to work with. I'm telling you, if I was working with some cheaper stuff, I'd probably lose my mind by now. This is like a never-ending sea of Bondo. So, after the kitty hair, this right here is Evercoat Gold. This white stuff is Evercoat Ultra, I think, or Extreme. That's the Extreme stuff. Kind of messing with the two. very similar in sanding. I noticed that the Evercoat Gold, something about it sands better for me. Maybe it's the way I mix it and about the timeline. So this is pretty much squared away. The next step, like for example, this little rough edge is here. Next step is the glazing putty, the Optex Evercoat. The rear bumper is pretty much done. Just a little coat of glazing putty there. Same thing everywhere else. The car is basically ready for glazing putty. Very fine, you know, taking out the kind of little rough stuff. This is the last bit of the body filler right here. Really rough on the kitty here. I'm gonna use the grinder, knock it down. Then I'm gonna go with the 60 grit, knock it down, and then, you know, using the Evercoat stuff. And pretty much it's coming to an end. The body filler is coming to an end. Honestly, it is something that I've never done. Anybody who does body filler for a living, I salute you, because I would never do this for a living. It's insane. You literally, I thought I went insane for a little bit. Glazing putty, this Optex glazing putty, I'm telling you, amazing stuff. I'm gonna put it on the next one, kind of like how I finish it off. On the next video, basically, I'm gonna primer this bad boy. It's gonna become, you know, the fun part, putting in the glass, cutting this down, cutting the glass, and putting in the front lights. I actually never showed how I made any of that stuff. That's gonna be coming up. I'm telling you, this was an insane process. I gotta say it again, something I've never experienced. So I'm gonna cut this one right here. I'm so happy that I almost finished this body filler. This was intense. I'm telling you, this was intense all by myself. See you on the next one.